Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. Hey, wouldn't you like to be excited about what you do for a living? Wouldn't you like to be able to, without bragging, explain to people some of the most interesting things that literally blow their minds because they don't even think that what you do is possible? With the new industries that are forming to take care of business and commerce in the next 5 years, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of people with opportunities that are crazy. And I mean insane. Just take SpaceX alone. They talk about commercial travel. They talk about hotels in space, floating platforms that orbit the planet, and you can go stay and rent a room just like you can at the Hilton or the Radisson or wherever you want to stay, the Waldorf, it doesn't matter. And a lot of those companies are going to be bidding to put their name on the platform so you can say, I'll stay at the Waldorf or in orbit. I mean, that's amazing. But guess what? All the other industries that are going to be needed to support that haven't even been chosen yet. The opportunities are out there for salespeople. And why is that? Because they need people to move contracts and move things like insurance and details such as supporting the manufacturing of these ships that are going to get you there, the vehicles that are going to get you into space, docking with the platforms. Every one of those involves things that people don't even know about. Things like seals and fasteners and manufacturing of large vehicles. I mean, this is not something that's put together by a small outfit over at the other end of the city. We're talking about major corporations that are going to need people to go and represent this. And these big corporations usually have a couple thousand different kinds of sales jobs. There's going to still be a need for wireless. You're going to be needing people that want to communicate on their phones, and they're going to communicate with their texting on their computers. You're going to need monitors for people to see when they sit down in their seats. And you're going to need to have things like food. So there's that industry right there. Whatever you want to call that basic food supply industry. I'm not familiar with it myself, but I do know that it's an industry that requires a great deal of finessing to get somebody like a major corporation to buy food for travel, whether it's a hotel. Think about a hotel, for example. When you're talking about a hotel, the one that you stay at, and it doesn't matter if it's a Hilton or a Radisson or the Waldorf, they have to have facilities managers, they have to have entertainment managers, people who book events. There's going to be people that want to have a wedding in space, I guarantee you. That will happen. And Elon Musk himself is taking the lead in a lot of this. But the commercial industry is coming, my friends, and there is a spot for you if you want it. There's even a spot for me. Sometimes they want a degree. Sometimes they want experience. If you're an engineer, they want sales engineers. Engineers are often some of the best salespeople when they adopt learning how to sell, and they have to sell a technology. And you're going to need the equipment. You're going to need the computers and the communication. You're going to need things like loudspeakers or headsets. They're going to need things, like I said, janitorial, because there has to be cleaning and sanitation. There has to be medical supplies. There has to be medical equipment. I could name a lot of different things. For example, the type of clothes that you would wear when you're traveling in space. You're going around the world on a floating hotel, and I guarantee you, all of the hotel names are going to want somebody to go out there and sell that name to these floating hotels. So that those are the Waldorf, or whoever it might be, Hilton, Holiday Inn. They're going to want to say they have a hotel in space. And it's going to be costly, but people are going to pay a lot of money for this, which means that the salespeople have a higher earning potential. You could easily find one of those jobs and find out that with commissions, you could be earning $250,000 a year. That's not a bad starting place for somebody. You don't have to be an incredible, gift of gab type person. All you got to do is be able to talk. And in the six-figure selling system, I'm going to tell you about some of the techniques that I have brought forward, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. And that is the idea that being in sales is one of the greatest professions, because if you think about it, you get to talk for a living. And you don't have to necessarily be from any specific age, background, of anything. Your ethnicity doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what part of the world you've traveled to, whether you're military, ex-military, although there are going to be in space a lot of ex-military positions for salespeople. And don't underestimate anybody that has a background in anything, because it's useful. And I don't care if you're selling clothes, because they're going to need a special type of outfit. You're going to be wanting to travel in space, or you're going to be doing some kind of travel that's mainly going to be above and beyond the standard space travel they have today of getting on an airplane. You're going to be needing, gift shops that have to be outfitted with things that people are going to want to buy, like souvenirs. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to travel to a hotel, spend 2 or 3 days in space, going around the globe, and coming back with some real souvenirs, pictures of you, or whatever it might be? It's for the same reason that you go to an amusement park and you see all the ancillary services that are there, where a photographer takes a picture of you, and then they say, on your way out, you can stop and pick up an 8x10 color. Okay? Something like that, for example. That is a concession. And concessions are a big deal. If you don't believe me, just look at the theater industry. That industry has changed so much in the form of concessions, because you have a lot of theaters that have restaurants in them now. Instead of just buying popcorn and candy and sodas, you can actually buy a dinner. And I see this all the time. But you think about the advertisements that they put out. They're going to need ad salespeople. There are tons of opportunities. I found a list today of 73 different sales opportunities for people in the next 5 years. Now, gear up, because when you take the six-figure selling system, you'll learn how to put yourself into any industry, no matter how challenging it might sound. It's really a lot easier than you think. But most of the sales techniques that I've studied, after reading hundreds of books over 40 years and taking hundreds, if not thousands, of seminars or listening to them on recordings or audiobooks, I can tell you the formulas that I found are not printed anywhere. This is something that you have not found. And if you don't subscribe and you decide you don't want to take my workshop, what you might be missing out on is being passed up by the people who do. Now, why is that? Because the guy who's on top, a common thing is people, when they have their meetings, they want to go to the guy who's the top salespeople and say, how do you do it? How did you get this? How did you land this contract? Etc. Well, now, it's better if you're that person that people come to and they say, hey, I want to know, how did you do that? That's fantastic. You made the sale. Now, you have to have the experience to know this. Remember, you have to have integrity and honesty. There is no such thing as beating the system. This is not ideas to beat the system. This is ideas to take advantage of the system and use it to your potential. Because you're the one doing the work, you might as well give yourself the greatest advantage so that you can be the person who's on top. The six-figure selling system is all about getting people to start at the $100,000 range, no matter where they're at, or find the industry that'll pay them that, and go from there. Because remember, the guy who's making $900,000 a year is still in six figures. Now, once you get to that point, you can talk about going to seven figures. But we're going to start off on the basics, and we're going to get you to a place to where in the first 30 days, you're going to see how you can operate things differently. And wouldn't it be exciting to be the person who has got that career that is so diverse, that is so different, that when you tell people what you do for a living, they are like fascinated. They're like, wow, that is so cool. How did you get into that or whatever? And I can tell you because one of the things that you're going to cover in the six-figure selling system is how to get past the gatekeeper. That's a big deal. But then how do you get to the core person you want to get to and sell them whatever it is you're selling? Usually it means selling yourself. You want to be able to be that person, and I will give you that advantage. Take my workshop, the six-figure selling system, and don't miss out so that you don't fall behind and everybody else is surpassing you. You want to be that guy on top.